Hello everyone, welcome back to RCH Builders. With the end of last year, beginning of this year, we've had a lot of stuff happening. A lot of the projects that I've been doing have been ones where there have been people living in the house and I haven't been able to video as much as I would like to. However, we've got some stuff happening coming up soon, hopefully, where I'll be able to be getting you a lot more steady videos. That's why even on this project, there's family living upstairs. We do have a lot more soundboard now where it is cutting down on some sound, but I also am going to be doing a lot of it hyperlapse, not to disturb them and their privacy. The last thing that y'all seen, I did the tape coat in here on the walls and the ceiling in this nice large room. I've done the bed coat and final coat, and Tyler has actually been doing the painting on quite a few of the other rooms. I'll go ahead and show y'all that. Of course, tape coat in here. You can still see the tape, of course, because there's been no bed coat done. But I'm going to be doing the bed coat in here today, starting on it, and then going from there. I did not tape mud this either, just visual purposes. You can see it happening on camera. So one thing when I'm doing the bed coat is, like, for instance, I will do the heavy bed coat on, say, this corner, and if I do this corner, to avoid messing this corner up, I will not do this. Instead, I'll do the flat one up on the ceiling. And then I will not do this long seam here because it affects that corner. So it's like I would do this and the top. And then on this side here, I would do this corner again, basically matching. And then over here, I would do this seam and this seam up at the top. And so, you know, when I'm doing it, that's where it may look like I'm kind of just jumping around here, but it has to do with not interfering with the bed coat that's adjacent to it. So that's where I'll be kind of moving around and then coming back to and all that kind of stuff in the video. Just want to let y'all know that. So in the hallway, I have done the top up here because I figured when I'm doing the hyperlapse video, this is probably going to block most of that anyway. So visually, you're not going to see it. The hallway, again, I basically have done just about everything in this hall that is not visible to you. It's mostly done. This room in here is the last room that we're doing because it has been our storage room, which we've gotten a lot of the stuff out, but it is still basically just a bed coat, a tape coat. The closet in here, we're planning on trying to bring in the flooring in here, so I have done the bed coat on most of this in here, but again, using that same logic, I'll probably be doing it today, but I still need to do this side. I've done this side, so now I gotta do this side, and I gotta do this seam because it interfered with that top up there. So really, I think there's only, so basically I got to do every other side of a corner in here to finish this out. And then this closet will be done. I've also come in here and this bathroom in here. I don't remember, I think when you showed it to you, this might not have all been sheetrocked, but I've been also doing the same thing in here. This might actually be finished. I can't remember. If not, well, it looks like I still got to do that corner, that edge of that corner, and this edge of this corner here. But otherwise, this room is actually ready to be sanded and painted, the bathroom. And then we've got it ready to start doing the tile. We've got the pre-layered down, the pre-slope. We got to put in the actual bed for the pan, and then we can start doing the tile there. back through here, this is where you can see somewhat finished. Tyler has basically already sanded, and this light is our temporary lighting for our hallway. He has sanded and primed, and actually has painted the first coat of paint on the ceiling down through here. The walls are just primed for now. We haven't put the paint on the walls, but the kitchen is done as far as sheetrock goes and primer. Ceiling paint, first coat on it. We basically just got to do trim and stuff. So we're getting close, and I should be able to get a lot of that stuff on video, I think, even if it is just hyperlapse for sound purposes. The bathroom in here, this bathroom, we've got the ceiling in here, I think has been painted twice, actually. It's at least been painted once. I think it was done twice. And we have primed all the spots where we added sheetrock mud and stuff like that. The paint that we use has primer in it, but I still like to use a PVA primer to seal the drywall before I use that paint. So this is all primed out and ready for the walls to be painted. Going into this other bedroom / office in here. This ceiling has definitely had both coats put on it. We've got both coats of ceiling paint on here, and the walls are all primed, ready for paint. So the painting, I'm going to try to get at least in that big room on hyperlapse for y'all, and quite possibly down through the hallway. It's just a lot more visible, easier for y'all to see some progress being done. But back in those little rooms, you got to move the camera around so much. Plus, Tyler was doing it while I was busy trying to catch up with other things for him to be able to do more. So didn't end up videoing the primer going on, but I might, depending on what he's doing versus what I'm doing, we might get the paint coat going on the walls in there, we might not. So that is every other seam completely finished around this room. And now we got to wait for that. We'll just wait for that to dry and come back and do the other opposing seams the next time. In like the next day or two, which this is technically the last day before a weekend, so it will definitely be dry when I come back in here and go to mud the rest of it. Another thing you probably noticed me doing, and I'm not sure if you did notice it, so I'm going to go ahead and mention it. But when I'm pulling like this big long seam here, when you pull, you can't really get against the wall, because once you hit the wall, it's not going to let you pull your knife nice and smooth. You're trying to be real gentle and form it just slightly. It's almost like sculpting when you're doing the mudding. So when you're doing that, and you can't pull one way, you need to pull this way and then this way. One thing that I do to try and help hide where that pull is and make it easier to sand out and become smooth later is I try to put that stopping point at a seam. So like I said, I don't know if it was on Hyperlapse visible or not, so that's why I'm mentioning it. So I would pull this way to where this seam is, then I'd go down there and I would pull this way and stop at this seam again. That way, when the sanding point is, it's right here for when and I might not even have to sand it, because when I go ahead and I pull this edge across, this seam across here, a lot of times that will fix the little bit of deviation you end up with from where the pull ends. But you can hide it and use a perpendicular seam as a stopping point for where you're going to do your two pulls. So just figured I'd mention that as well. All right, so that's the bed coat is what we call it in sheetrock. It's the heaviest coat of them all in here. This room is roughly about 24 feet by 13. It's not exact dimensions, but it is a very large room. Doing this bed coat, I used more than one whole bucket of mud just on the bed coat. That's not counting what I used on the tape coat. So just doing this mud here, I used more than a whole bucket. I had maybe about like that much inside the bottom of a bucket. I used that, finished another bucket, and used about that same amount out of the next bucket. So used about a bucket and a quarter, bucket and a third, somewhere's around there. Just doing the bed coat in here. The skim coat will maybe use half a bucket, if that. Quite possibly not, because a lot of times, you know, when I do the bed coat, it's pretty good. I'm not going to video doing the bed coat, the skim coat, because you visually won't really be able to see anything be done. All it is going to be just kind of smoothing it out slightly. If it's like a small room, a lot of times when I'm doing this, I'll get it really good with just the bed coat. But with a huge room like this, where I'm trying to do these really long runs here, like when I was in the other rooms, like most of the time these right here are good with the bed coat. This long one here might be okay, but especially these ones here, 9 times out of 10, I will be doing that have to do a skim coat on those. The rest of them, again, they might be fine and just need some light sanding. But it is you gotta be real steady with your hand and real smooth. Like I say, it's basically kind of like sculpting. You're sculpting with the sheetrock mud to make what appears to be a flat surface. And with that being the case, like I say, if you have a steady hand, you might get by with just two. But when you're doing this much, especially, my hand, I've been doing this for days with the other rooms and this, and my hand is getting a little bit carpal tunnel. So especially, it's hard to be really smooth with it, especially on the long runs. But anyways, like I said, I'm not going to video the skim coat because visually on camera, you're not going to see. It's like basically painting white paint on top of white paint, the second coat. You can't see what I'm doing, really. It's hard enough for me to see it in person when it's white paint. But next video that we'll be doing will probably be of priming the walls in here. Then we'll just be going on from there. We got priming, we got painting, we got all the trim work to do, the flooring, and had a little bit of slow period during the beginning of this year with what we're doing, with getting stuff ready, doing different things, but definitely got a lot more videos coming for y'all. So hope you enjoyed watching. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you the next time.